Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Here We Go, and with me today to start 1951 with a bang is my good friend S.C. McPeter. Say hi.
Ciao. My name is not Irish, but I'm Italian, alright?
Well, that's why you're here. I want to try and bring some authenticity to at least some of this, but in any case, so as mentioned, this is Here We Go, released on the 6th of January 1951. It's the 609th in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Superstars Bugs Bunny DVD set. It's been released in HD as well on a service that no longer seems to be interested in hosting such cartoons. So in case you haven't seen this one, I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube due to copyright, but essentially a debate rages on whether the world is flat or round, which unfortunately is a topic that seems to have reared its ugly head again, which is annoying, but anyway. So Queen Isabella offers Christopher Columbus her jewels if he can prove the world is round. Bugs Bunny accompanies him as a mascot as he sets out to prove that the world is round.
Wait a minute, Doc. Look! Land! She's a land!
A few bits of trivia for this one. So, as per the original animated draft, the original title for this short is Lucky Rabbit's Feet. I don't know if that's a better title than this, but let me know in the comments if you think that title is better than the one we ended up getting. So, the version of Columbus that we see in this short is based off of actor Frederick March, who was actually in a movie called Christopher Columbus that was released in 1949, although the blonde hair seems to be an interesting choice, but it stands out.
Historically inaccurate. He seemed to have had brown, maybe black hair. If he was Northern Italian, he would have had dirty blonde, but definitely not that color, I'll say that. Nice color choice, but sure.
Now, it's also the second Warner Brothers short to essentially retell the same event of Christopher Columbus traveling to the New World. So the first one was Christopher Columbus Jr., featuring the then main Looney Tunes star Porky, because Bugs Bunny wasn't around at that point. In fact, two things were repeated. I mean, first of all, that baseball gag, it was repeated from that short. And there is also a rendition of that wonderful Christopher Columbus song in E.
Oh, Columbus did discover our America. He sailed the sea in 1492. Anchors away, but the good Queen Isabella, she found a more attractive fella. Christy wound up sitting in the juggeroo.
Whereas in this one, Bugs Bunny actually sings the song, much to the amusement of the sailors. They seem very happy about it, as you can see in the background.
Oh, Columbus is the discoverer of America as we sailed the sea in 1492. And the good Queen Isabella gave her jewels to her fella so Columbus could sail across the ocean blue.
One fact I did find out about the whole thing about bringing a rabbit on board for luck. Now, the superstition goes that a rabbit's foot brings good luck, but only on land. But there actually is a sailor superstition about rabbits being unlucky when you bring them on board a ship. So that wasn't just made up for this short. That actually is a correct thing. I mean, it's obviously a silly superstition, and it's most likely based off of a disaster happening and some rabbits happen to be on board and that sort of stuff. No one can really pinpoint where it started, but that's the most likely answer. So, SC, you mentioning that there was also another Columbus short that has interesting ties to this one?
Christopher Columbus Jr., a Lance Oswald cartoon. What's interesting about it is that it seems to be one of the earliest cartoons directed by Fred, or Tex Avery, as everyone knows him. He did some animation on it of the scene where Pete gets his leg stuck in a cannon, and he recalled spending so much time with it, he extended how long it actually should have been from like 10 feet to 60 feet, making it like a whole minute long. Lance just took one look at it and said, okay, we'll put it in. But
Of
what's
course.
more interesting about it is that in that short is that the Queen of Spain has a Mae West voice, and in this one, she also has a Mae West voice.
Here, take my jewels and get 3 boats. Then you can go first class.
If you can prove the world is round, Chris, I'll give you my jewels.
There's a lot of connection between Avery and McKimson. Most importantly is that McKimson was the head animator of the Avery unit before he left to go to MGM. And yeah, I find that an interesting connection that between Avery and McKimson, in that both of their Christopher Columbus shorts have Mae West play the Queen of Spain, even though in both shorts they don't really look like her.
And I'll point out that in this particular short, the Mae West voice is done by Grace Leonard. Shout out to Keith Scott from his wonderful Cartoon Voices book. And of course, Mel Blanc does all the other voices in the short. And I mean, speaking of voices, you gotta love the argument at the beginning. I mean, it's Mel Blanc arguing with himself, but he was so darn good that you forget it's one guy doing those voices.
The world, she's around. She's flat.
Similar to Harry Shearer voicing Mr. Burns and Smithers. You know, you forget this is one guy doing it. So
Yeah, and he's
it's
doing
that
it in
good.
2 different dialects.
Exactly, showing us how good he is with the dialects. Although with the Italian, I suppose you might get a bit annoyed with the whole fake Italian, what I call Italian pasta sounds when Columbus gets upset and everything.
Cacciatore, belladonna, antipasto.
Speaking of weird Italian, I like how Bugs starts off with,
Yeah. What's up, Bugs?
but then for the rest of the short, he talks regular Bugs Bunny. I thought that was a bit of a weird detail. But with this particular short, I mean, yes, there is definitely baggage involving the whole Christopher Columbus, the situation about him, quote-unquote, discovering the New World. I won't get into it too much because I've already covered a lot of that in the Christopher Columbus Jr. review that's already up on the channel. I'm looking at this short more of a Bugs Bunny just accompanies this guy to see if the world is flat or round, and that's it. And we go from there.
For me, I really do like the animation in this one. I love the whole exchange between Christopher and Bugs when they're just eating while the boat is sailing, and when they're not eating, they're talking to the other.
Yeah, it's a great, it's a great little scene where they just happen to be sharing this soup bowl. I find that this short, for me, it's not really ha funny, but it is amusing. It's a nice little gem, if you will.
It's a nice little tall tale, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking through this short, I mean, you got the wonderful baseball gag, which again, yes, it was reused, but it still works pretty well here. And I think the timing in this version is a little better, but whatever, they're both still pretty funny. The other gag I enjoy is evolving those painted pictures, but you solved a bit of a mystery as to how they would have achieved that effect in this short.
So whenever a realistic piece, and you realize that it's not really anime, it's just moving like a cutout, what they would do is that they would just take the photo and they would just glue it onto the cell. And the way they would draw it on the paper was that they would just draw the outline. If you ever see drawings for commercials where a character is holding a product and in the final thing the product was just a photo of it, that's how they achieve the effect, by just drawing the silhouette of where it is. Then they just glue it onto the cell.
Yeah, and then when they shoot each and every frame, they will just move that photo accordingly to whatever it needs to land on, which makes total sense. I love the effect here. In fact, one of my favorite gags in this one is when the sailors, they think they've seen land and they're escaping, so they jump through the painting and they just leave, and then you got that one small sailor.
He doesn't even recognize the fact that they're just crashing in.
I don't know, I just got a real big chuckle out of that, but ultimately, yeah, I enjoyed this one. Nice gags.
I just like the fact that being Italian, I just like just seeing the Italian jokes. I'm excited to do the Charlie Dog later.
Of course, yes.
I think this one is just a nice little exercise with the animators, especially since there are some impressive pieces like the whole moving exchange.
Yeah, this one in terms of a score, look, I'm going to give this about a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a standout for me, but it's quite funny. It's like a nice little gem that's, not McKimson's best, but it does showcase how great his animated team was at this point in time before the shutdown.
I would give it a nice 7 out of 10.
So it's a nice average McKimson short that's, if it's on TV, worth watching, I'd say. It's quite funny. But in the end, that'll do it for this one. So we're starting off 1951 with not maybe a bang per se, but at least we're not starting it off with a whimper, which is always a good thing. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
That's all, though, folks.
Who's discovered America? Okay, Chris, you can have the credit. No use changing all the history books just for little old me.